Welcome to Beyond the Postcard. Today, we're looking at a piece of heavy paper cardstock frozen in time. On the surface, it's a standard piece of souvenir correspondence, but if you look closely at the edges, you begin to realize that postcards aren't just souvenirs, they are historical tracking devices. Let's look at the back of the card. It's addressed to Martha at the Washington Arms in Lebanon, Pennsylvania, zip code 17042. The stamp? The stamp is a 12-cent Henry Ford definitive issue, canceled with a stark barred postmark. St. Mary Rue, West Glacier, June 16th, 1971. Listen to the words written by a woman named Alice. Her cursive is rapid, slanted, almost breathless. We are really having a ball trying to see just as much as we can. Pucky was fishing today but didn't catch anything. Trudy is doing real good. I'm very pleased. See you soon, Alice. Think about the psychology here. Look at how the ink clumps. Alice is writing this in a rush, perhaps on a picnic table or a dashboard of a car. She wants Martha to know that everything is fine. Trudy is doing real good. Pucky didn't catch anything. It's a forced statement of safety. When people enter the crushing, overwhelming wilderness of Glacier National Park, they feel a subconscious need to project normalcy back home. We are safe. We are having a ball. But look at the date, June 16th, 1971. Alice had no idea that the very soil she was standing on, the very lake water Pucky was casting his fishing line into, was still stained with the fresh, brutal memories of one of the most terrifying events in American outdoor history. She thought she was in paradise. She was actually walking through a graveyard. Printed text on the back proudly calls this Lake McDonald and Reflections Glacier National Park. It describes the cool, placid waters and the rugged, snow-clad beauty. The water looks like glass. A perfect vertical line of orange and yellow swimming buoys cut through the pristine blue water. It looks serene. It looks safe. But water is an illusion. Lake McDonald is the largest lake in the park, plunging down to a freezing depth of nearly 500 feet. It was carved by massive glaciers, leaving behind a bottomless basin of ice-cold water that rarely rises above 50 degrees Fahrenheit. If you fall out of a boat in the center of that lake, hypothermia sets in within minutes. Your muscles seize. Your lungs gasp involuntarily, drawing in the frigid depths. Since the park opened in 1910, over 300 people have entered these gates and never walked back out. Falls, drownings, and sudden vanishings are woven into the very fabric of this dirt. In fact, right near the area where this photo was captured decades before Alice arrived, two brothers simply ceased to exist. In August of 1924, Joseph Whitehead, a 29-year-old engineer from Chicago, and his 22-year-old brother William, an MIT student, set off on a hike from the Lake McDonald Lodge, heading toward Granite Park Chalet. They were last seen right here along the shores of this lake on August 23rd. They vanished into thin air. Massive search parties combed through the dense timber, steep ridges looming in the background of this card. No clothes, no gear, no bones were ever recovered. The wilderness simply swallowed them whole. But the true deep dark of Lake McDonald lies in what happened just 4 years before Alice licked that Henry Ford stamp. Let's talk about August 13th, 1967, a night known forever in blood-chilling history as the Night of the Grizzlies. In 1967, a 19-year-old girl named Michelle Coons came to work for the summer. Her job? Working in the gift shop at the Lake McDonald Lodge, the very hub of the image in this postcard. On August 12th, Michelle and 4 of her friends hiked out from the lake up to Trout Lake, just over the steep ridges you see in this postcard. What they didn't know was that a rogue, emaciated grizzly bear had become heavily habituated to eating human garbage at a place called Kelly's Camp, located right at the north of Lake McDonald. This bear wasn't normal. A later autopsy revealed she was starving, and her gums were agonizingly embedded with broken glass, raiding human trash sites. Around 4 a.m. on August 13th, while Michelle and her friends were asleep in their sleeping bags by the lake, that glass-jawed monster slipped out of the shadows. The campers woke up to the sound of the bear sniffing them. When it approached Michelle, she panicked and screamed. The others scrambled up the trees, shouting for Michelle to run, but she couldn't. The zipper on her sleeping bag was completely stuck. As her friends watched helplessly from the branches in the pitch black, the bear clamped its jaws onto Michelle and began dragging her backward into the dark woods, her final words echoing through the trees. "Oh my God, I'm dead. Oh my God, I'm dead." Simultaneously, 9 miles away, at the Granite Park Chalet, another 19-year-old lodge employee, Julie Helgeson, was dragged from her sleeping bag by a completely different grizzly bear. 2 separate fatal attacks by 2 different bears on the exact same night. When rangers finally found what was left of Michelle Coons' body the next day, the sheer trauma of the scene made seasoned woodsmen question everything they knew about nature. Blood didn't stop dying in the 70s. If we travel further down the timeline, past Alice's visit, park's dark history continues to claim victims right around the landscape captured in this postcard. Consider the infamous case from July 2013 involving a newlywed couple, Cody Lee Johnson and Jordan Graham. They had been married for just 8 days. They drove up into the park past Lake McDonald and hiked out onto the steep cliffs of Loop Trail. An argument broke out on the edge of the sheer cliff overlooking the roaring valleys below. In a flash of blind rage, Jordan pushed her new husband hard in the back. Cody plunged face first off the deep embankment, falling hundreds of feet to his death onto the jagged rocks below. Jordan then lied to authorities, pretending he had vanished or gone missing, even pretending to discover his body later on because she knew exactly where he fell. He was later convicted of second-degree murder. The beauty of Glacier National Park acts like a siren song, blinding visitors to the severe danger. People stand exactly where the photographer stood to capture the postcard, completely unaware of how thin the line is between a beautiful vacation and an FBI homicide investigation. Let's look back at Alice's handwriting one last time. Trudy is doing real good. I'm very pleased. See you soon, Alice. There is something hauntingly beautiful, yet deeply unsettling about the ignorance of a tourist. Alice, Pucky, and Trudy sat by that water, completely unaware of the ghosts of the Whitehead brothers under the surface. They walked the trails where Michelle Coons took her final steps. They smiled, bought their stamps, and mailed their postcards. Every vintage postcard is a message sent from the edge of the abyss. We look at the beautiful pictures on the front, but it's a dark reality of what happened beyond the postcard that keeps us awake at night. And please join me again at Beyond the Postcard.